Okay, hello, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and I'm live coming along to finish this project, which is the Tonic Studios Timeless Tidings. And I started yesterday creating this little book. I'm hoping to finish it today, or at least add a few more details. And I've already done some die cutting and made a couple of little changes already to the front as well. I'm gonna wait here and see if anyone shows up to say hello. I'm double checking here, doing some housekeeping as well to make sure that everything looks good on my end. So let's see here. I need to make sure I can see everything. Oh, hello, Tanya. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring you. I hope you weren't waiting too long. I wanted to make sure that everything looked okay on my end, and I appreciate you being here. Okay, so hello. Oh my goodness. Hi. It's been so long. I hope you're doing well. I'm here to continue working on this little project. And as you can see, I have my stamp platform out here on the corner. And then I also have some inks, and these happen to be archival inks from Ranger. I just thought the papers and these particular colors would work well together. They happen to be library, I don't know how to say that, library green. Those R's are hard for a Spanish speaker. Potting soil and vermilion. Okay, so I think they're going to match nicely with this. I also happen to have the ground espresso. I had to use this yesterday. I have some Pink Fresh Studio Reds here, but I'm not sure if I'll end up using those, but they're on the side here just in case. And then today I thought I would introduce the Timeless Tidings stamp set. So if you guys want to share this video, I will be forever grateful. I'm going to start crafting, and I'm just going to recap really quickly that the papers that you'll see in this little book are from the 8x8 collection from Tonic Studios called Timeless Tidings, and I already cut into the cover, so I can't show you the cover anymore, but I can share with you what I cut out of the back, which if you see there are the little tags. And that was using this die set, which I'm going to show you. And let's see here. Actually, yeah, I have it right here. I want to make sure everyone can see everything that I share. So these are the tags and stamps, and they're available to match the paper collections that are exclusive to Tonic Studios. So you can follow my links if you'd like to pick any of these items up. They are still available, with the exception, of course, of the base pages that I did cut out with the Tonic Craft Kit number 82 Elegant Envelope gift card, because Tonic Craft Kits are only available for a certain period of time unless they are re-released. If that is the case and you're watching this video after the live in the future, then if Tonic Studios brings it back as an open purchase, then I'll be happy to link it below. So let's take a look here. Hi, Melissa. Doing my little announcements here. What I wanted to do today is, in fact, let me take a peek here really quickly. I wanted to grab my little daubers. Bear with me 1 second. I thought I had everything. Here we go. So I have these ink daubers. They come in different sizes, and you may be able to tell that I already have a lot of them layered. And what I tend to do is that if I use one, and because I know the inks that I tend to use the most, then I'll go ahead and put the name of the color that I used with my label maker. And then that way I don't have to guess the next time around as to what ink I use on that dauber. So I do have those. And then I have the Timeless Tidings stencils. And I wanted to go ahead and open these up, and then the stamps that I already mentioned, because yesterday where we left off was that I mentioned, oh, glare, thank you, Melissa. Oh, I love you to pieces, girl. Let me grab another piece of paper. Oh. I have to grab like, here we go. I think that's better, right? Whew, okay. I have to be mindful of that, and I appreciate you so much. I have to get something for my lights. You guys have probably seen them. They look like a parachute cover, and I need to get that for my lights so that this doesn't have this ongoing glare. Thank you, Melissa. So yesterday where we left off was that I had colored the papers that I added to the cover, which were these here. I was mentioning that I use this paper I found in my stash. We all do this. We all collect paper, and then lo and behold, one day we grab a piece of paper and decide to craft with it. That's what I did yesterday. I was adding this brown, but I did use one of the 3D embossing folders on it, and then added some of the pearl, the embellishment mousse. I'm saying pearl because it has a pearlescent effect, but it's called embellishment mousse. So what I did was, off camera, I went ahead and added the same to the spine. And then if you recall, I had used different colors of that embellishment mousse, both for the base papers, but also for the poinsettias. So these poinsettias are all colored with embellishment mousse, and you will see that in the video that I shared yesterday. The same goes for the little pine cones here. So the red that you're seeing there is also embellishment mousse. It's actually the same red that I used on the poinsettias. And then I did spritz that just a tiny bit, and I did that live using the, I'm gonna mention the color. The color, I think it was Pearl Ivory. I don't know, a mica mist. It may have been Pearl Ivory because I keep them here. Yep, I think it was Pearl Ivory. Bear with me, guys, I just knocked it over. Okay, so off camera what I did was that I also added these little sprigs here. What I did was that I cut them out using that same die set that I was from the Timeless Tidings. I also added the little berries, and as you can tell, they're the same color as the poinsettias. So what I did was that I used the leftover papers from having cut out those flowers, and those were my little berries. So it's super easy, right? Why struggle when you have the paper available? Then what you'll notice is a difference in the poinsettia. In the centers, I went ahead and cut out that smallest flower again, using the same ivory card that I've been using on this project. And I colored that. Now, what I used to color the little centers there were the Platinum Gold Nuvo Dual Dot Marker. It's one of my favorites. I love the fact that it's got a thin nib on one side, it's got the wide nib on the other side, and they're in packs of 3. This just happens to be a gold, and I really love that. So that's how I colored that, what was ivory card. And then on top of that, I added some sparkle with a glitter drop in Gold Coast. So that transformed the center of those little poinsettias. It was the same Nuvo drop that I added also on the perimeter of the paper because I did decide to tatter it. It was going in that direction already, so I figured just work with it because I manhandled the paper. Hello, Sapphire Manga. Hola, hola, I haven't seen you in so long. Yes, oh, and hi Sharon, thank you so much for being here. So you will be able to follow everything that I've done with this little book, from cutting the paper to where it is now. No, it is a long video. However, the good thing about the long videos is you can mute me, and that is a blessing. And then you can increase the speed and then follow along accordingly and pause where you need to. So I tell people that all the time, okay? I will not be offended if you tell me that you do that. Now, here are the pages. I made them all the same so that they would be super easy to make. The base papers are, again, with the brown card, only I did not dry emboss it. I added the little matting layers with rectangles, super easy. And then these were the ones created with the envelope die from the kit. Sorry. This largest die here creates that envelope. And so I only used that layer and then the largest rectangle. That's all I did. Now, today I'm going to share with you how I'm going to be using the little tabs there so that I can add a little area where I can add a picture, for instance, to these pieces, which I again cut out of the ivory card. And then we're going to do a little bit of stamping and stenciling, super simple on those. But as you can see here, oh, and I did want to make use of Mr. Cardinal here. So I cut that out with the same die. I didn't do that yesterday. But all of these fold out the same way. Some of them have magnets and some of them do not. I think I did 2 with a magnet, if I'm not mistaken. But as you can see here, it just repeats itself. So there's plenty of opportunity for journaling or for adding a picture. And today we're gonna add a little bit more frill to this, okay? Nothing crazy, just using what's available in the kit. It's not a kit, I should say, in the collection. So the first thing is I'm going to assembly line adhere these little pieces because that's gonna be all the same. And I just wanna get it out of the way. And we'll add that to the book as I chat away with you guys. So, Melissa, yeah, it's hard to get into the Christmas thing, but as we all know, that's the busiest time of year. It tends to be anyway. I'm trying to be proactive, aside from the fact that, of course, I want to share all of this with you guys and try to give some inspiration, but it's a great idea to have the little book ready, and then that way at Christmas time, if I happen to snap any photos, then boom, it's all ready to go. Don't have to think about it and just add them right into that book. So these little guys are meant to hold a gift card, but why not use them as a photo corner? And what I decided to do was to use that adorable plaid paper that came in that collection, as you can see there. And what it's going to allow me to do is to slide a little picture behind each one of these, okay? So let me show you at least 2 pages with that, and then of course I can do the rest off camera. Just to give you an idea. And by the way, oh my gosh, that's the first time anyone's ever given me a tip. I'm gonna cry. Thank you so much, sweetie. And Don, welcome, welcome. Oh, today is a celebratory day. It's a new page. I feel like I'm turning a new leaf. I very much appreciate that. It means a whole lot to me, because I have to say it's very humbling to know that people even tune in to watch this channel, let alone do something like that. So may the Lord pay it forward to you 10 times over, sweetie. All right, so just for a couple of pages, let's see what that would look like, okay? Because you can put it, of course, on the front and back covers if you'd like to, but I kind of like the real estate of that to add a little bit more, because it's kind of the first impression of the book. But let's just say this is going to be our first little page where we want to add a photo. I can add these to the foundation, and then this can slip in and out. That's what I was thinking would be really cool, because this paper here is going to be the same color, okay? So I want to add these just as such, And the little gift envelope was designed that way anyway. But if you're more comfortable adding them just to the actual page itself, or I'm sorry, the matting layer, then of course you could do that. But I'm going to place this here, and then I'm going to do another one at the bottom. And those of you who were here yesterday saw me struggle with this paper. So it is, I know Missy was asking me, it is from the paper company, this brown paper, and I did not fall in love with it. So had I to do this again, I would stick with my Craft Perfect papers. They're just a lot more user-friendly because there seems to be a coating on this. I think that's what's going on, and that's why yesterday it just was not doing its thing. Bear with me because I just dropped something, and I need that. Okay, getting down's easy. It's getting up part that's not always so much fun. Okay, so this is going to slide in here, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but I did dry emboss this piece of paper with the dies that are included in here. One of them is a bit more scrolly, and then the other one is more like a Greek rope. I think that's what it's called. But I tried that on here, and I wasn't wowed by it because of the fact that this paper is ivory. Can't really see it, especially not on camera. So I decided to forgo that for all of the rest of them. And instead, I thought it would be great to do some stenciling. So let's do that instead. Hello, Beth. Oh, wonderful. You know, I thought, for instance, a lot of people like to make a December daily, and that's a wonderful way to celebrate the season of Christmas. And for me, as I've shared before on this channel, for me, Christmas is about Christ. It's the birth of Jesus, and that's why I celebrate it. So I thought, okay, what can I do to stick to what I believe, you know, and also enjoy something like this, right? And I got to thinking, I would love it to make a little book where I can put, for instance, one little picture here, and then another one here, and then I can flip this over and write down a prayer for whichever person's on the front cover, because you can cut the pictures to whichever size you like, and then you can embellish the papers to your heart's content. But to give the book meaning, then I like to have a little place where I can write things, but I don't necessarily want other people to read it. A little book like this is a perfect place for that, because you can add all of the interactive little items and all the fun stuff, and then still have room for the things that are meaningful to you. And it is not a difficult book to make. If you saw yesterday's video, you saw my mistakes and all that good stuff. But, you know, I try not to take it too seriously. At the end of the day, it's the meaning behind it that, you know, makes it special. So here's one little stencil. And this has little berries, and I just think that that is darling. And then another one has greenery. Another one has the little, I don't know how to say this. I need a translator from my brain. The little sprigs in the middle of the greenery, I think that's what that is. And then there's more pine cones. And I think I was just, okay, let's just set those aside. Let's do the little berries. So I'm gonna grab my red ink and a dauber. And I might have to cheat and use one that's already been used. However, the good thing is that it was red anyway, so I'm just going to use that. And these are great because they're small in diameter, so it'll fit really nicely for what I'm going to try to do here. And then I do have some die cuts that I was just pushing out of the way, so I will be sharing those with you as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna load that as much as I can there, and I'm gonna try to be careful here. Now you may want to use your stamp platform, or you may want to wing it as I'm doing it here, because I don't think it has to be 100% perfect, nor do you have to use all of them. Let's just take a look at how it looks, right? Just transforming this ivory card and using the colors that hopefully will match this collection. I think it will. All right, so let's just go with those. And then I'm going to take that marker that I had mentioned. I'm going to try to hold that so it doesn't move. I'm going to take this marker. You can tell I've worked with children because I can hold one thing down, pin it down, and grab another. It's reminding me of my days working with toddlers where you're like, sit still. And you still have to reach over and grab 3 diapers or whatever. All right, so I'm going to aim at the little drops here. It's going to look very not intentional, right? Okay. And that's that. And now my paper has that pretty little pattern on it with a little bit of gold and a little bit of red. Now, if you really want to get fancy with it, of course, you can add some Nuvo Drops on top of that and let it dry and then add it to your book. You can also take this marker, and let me just show you, because I did do it on the book and I didn't mention that. On the edges, I did color it with that marker, and that's what I like about this type of tip, is that it's rounded. So you can just hold on to the paper and draw a line. Okay. And then you're going to get that beautiful border. Now, I did emboss this. And if you really want to get fancy, you can go over the embossing with, you know, more mousse and all that good stuff. But I'm going to keep the inside of this book rather simple. But that's that. And now that ivory piece of card is a little bit prettier, I think. Let's see here. Cover that up. And there's a bit of a cushion in that marker, and I think that that's what allows it to be a bit more easily manipulated there, so that you can add that to your paper. Now, I have to be careful with that red ink because I can already tell there that it transferred onto one of my fingers. So I'm going to grab a baby wipe here. Make sure that I'm ready because I don't want to ruin my project. Oh, wrong spray, sorry. I meant to spray water on this. Okay, I just needed some way to wipe off my own hands here very, very quickly. Okay, so I'm just gonna slide this back in here. That's sample 1. I'm gonna set this aside for a second. Let's try another one. And we'll come back to this page, but let's do another one. I'm gonna do my little foundation pieces there, so I have a place to slide this. And of course, this is just one of many ideas. You can really go to town. Now, the reason that I wouldn't add a whole lot to this, the inside of this book, another reason I should say, is because of the fact that I only made the space in between each page to be 1/4 inch wide. So if you like the idea of this book, but you know that you really like chunky pages and adding all sorts of trinkets, then just increase the size of the spine and increase the size of that space in between your pages. Now you can use a die, or you can oopsie, this is the wrong one. You can do it with the I want to say paper creaser, but that is the tool. The scoreboard, that's what I meant to say. You can do it with the scoreboard. And some people like to have like 3/8 of an inch in between each page, or a 1/2 inch. It really depends on what the book is going to be used for. But I think most of the dies from Tonic Studios only leave a 1/4 of an inch. Let me think here. Or 3/8 of an inch in between each page. Okay. I do have to, as I said before, this brown paper's not my favorite, so I have to really be persuasive with it. Okay, let's do this other stencil. Let's do this one. And what I want to do for this one is just very lightly go over it. Let's see if I have a brush here that's not too saturated, because I tend to use them. And I'm going to use potting soil, but I also want to take off a lot of this ink. Okay, so I'm going to load that brush, clean most of it off, and then use it very, very lightly here. Yes, you're right, Melissa. There's different ones, and they come, of course, with a different memory book dies, but you can get a standalone one. That is the one that went with the Keepsake Bookmaker. That was, I want to say it was the second one. Yes, it was the second one that Tonic ever released. And that one, I believe, is the one that has the, it's either a 1/4 of an inch or just under a 1/4 of an inch between each page. And I would get it out, but I don't want to have to leave my table right now. But I could show it to you guys at another time. All right, so I'm just gonna lift this up. And I love the way that that looks. It's subtle, but it's so, so pretty. And of course, you don't have to do inks. You can use your mousses for this. But let's take a look at another one. I think this is fun. So that's this little page here, and we can revisit it and we can add a little bit more of anything that we like, but I just want to share with you guys some little samples there. Why do you load the brush just to take it back off? So Dawn, that's a great question. Let me show you. I shall show you, darling. Because there's no better time to learn than the present. Let me grab another piece of paper. So when you load a brush with ink, let me grab that back. There's a texture to that actual brush, right? So if I want all of my images to be exactly the same, but I take that brush and without taking that initial amount of ink off, I'm gonna probably have a tendency to be a little bit heavy-handed, and then I'm doing my brush strokes. I'm gonna move on to a next one, I'm gonna move on to a next one and a next one. But inevitably, that first one is going to be a little bit darker, and it might even have the texture of the actual brush. So in order for it to be subtle on every single one of them, it's just a little bit of a safety feature to say, okay, I'm going to have the tendency to be a little bit heavier handed when I go in at first. So let me just take off a tiny bit of ink. It's kind of like insurance, you know? take off a tiny bit of that ink and then go back in, and then you can kind of start noticing right away how much pressure you actually applied to your brush, you know? So that's my reasoning behind that, but I don't think there's a wrong way to go about it. You know what I mean? It's just habit. And I use a lot of watercolor, and I tend to do that too, to offload a little bit of the water in the ink and then apply it. So it's just, you know, a habit from watercoloring as well. But I hope that helps. And Dawn, I know that you asked yesterday about the magnets, and I'm so very sorry that I did not see your question. So while I'm thinking that, let me explain to you the application of the magnets in the pages, because I think that's going to be another one of those things where you want to visually see what's going on. If it goes too fast, you might miss it. So I'm trying to find my little magnets here. I know I have them, but that's what I love about live videos. Here they are. Is that you can ask questions, you can get your answers right away, because if you're anything like me, I don't want to wait till, you know, 9 o'clock at night or whatever it is that I might be sitting there watching something. I want to hear it now. All right, so let's just pretend that this is the permanent tape that I used yesterday, right? I'm just going to grab a couple pieces here. And let's also pretend that this is the page that I'm trying to stick together. I'm going to just fold it. I'll use this on something else, whatever. Okay. So this is my little page, and I'm trying to make it interactive, right? And this is what I did yesterday. I took one magnet. I placed it on the front. Why? Because this is where I'm going to add my layer of paper. And I know, for instance, that I don't want it to pop out of my page that way. This is the fold here, and then there's a fold here. So I want to find my comfortable place where the magnet should go so that it doesn't damage my paper either. So let's just say I'm happy with that placement. I'm going to cover that up with my layer of paper. Now I take my second magnet and I place it here because I want it to match that one. What I did was that I placed my glue right on that magnet. I know it's going to match. I press on that paper, and now the glue is giving me my location. I want to place my magnet there, and I want to make sure that it faces glue side down. So then I put my magnet there. I cover it up with my second piece of pretty paper. Now you can't see that, but you know it's there, and you know it's matching the one on top. Okay? So just pretend that I used papers. You're very, very welcome. So I'm gonna just take those back. Use them on a different project. All right, let's move on with the other stenciling here. Or stamping. We'll do one of each. But I really love that one. Let's do the greenery one. So for this one, mind you, that's just there for the glare. Let's just do this library green, and we can do this brush. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a little bit of that up. And again, try to be subtle with it, because this isn't going to be the focal point of these pages. It's just meant to kind of take away some of that stark ivory. And you can do them all, but you don't have to. Okay, and it's easy to revisit them also if you need to do that. Okay, and that's this one here. And it is very, very subtle because I did not use that full on. I'm not going for a super dark color, but you can also couple this with that other one that has all of these other little sprigs, and I think they match. Yep. So these are the centers of those little leaves. So if you layer this one on top, then you're going to get the, I don't know how to say that. I want to say spine, but I think that that's not the word. But it'll match the centers of some of these. So if you want to go back in and make it a tiny bit darker, you can do that. Just kind of have to find your placement there. And because I colored them quite subtle, it's a little bit, I have to be a little bit more careful. But if you're going for that bit of almost like a watercolor look, then it's okay if it's not 100% perfect either. All right, so there's that second layer there, and hopefully that makes sense. But it is the center of some of those little leaves, which I think is quite cute. All right, let's do some stamping. So that's the third one here. And in fact, I didn't do the same type of page on every single one of these. So for instance, the good thing about that, now that I'm thinking about it, is that I can add the little tabs that I had mentioned, or I can switch it up and just make a corner piece here to decorate the page. So let's take a look at the other pieces that I had cut. I have these tags, and these were cut with that tag and stamp die set. Here's, for instance, one of the stamps. I think it's so gorgeous. So I can go ahead and make a little cluster here and have this slip in from the top and then just decorate that. So let's see here. I've got that one. I've got some other small ones, so let me show you those. This is the smaller stamp one. And then here's one without the foiling, in case you wanted to see what that looks like. And then I do have some just in that plain cardstock, because what I like to do is that if I'm going to cut out a decorative piece of card, I like to back it up with a piece of the 300 GSM, and that way it's nice and substantial. And I also have the one with the stags. They happen to match this page, so I think that's the one that I want to use. And I'm going to double it up with that heavier card. So that way, when I place it on my page, it's nice and sturdy. Hello, Eve. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. So this is the one that I started yesterday. And, oh, and Tanya, thank you so much for sharing the video. I really appreciate it. So this is going to be my little tuck spot. Now what I can do here is I'm going to double it once more. I want this to be nice and sturdy. Okay. And then I'm going to attach this here to the edge. But I'm only going to apply adhesive to a very small portion of this, not the entire thing. And that's the benefit of this glue gun with the tip, that you don't have to worry about adding too much adhesive. I'm just going to aim that toward the edge of that page. And I know it's going to dry clear, so I'm not going to worry too much about that adhesive at this moment. No, Lynn. Oh, Lawn Fawn is on as well. Yeah, if I weren't crafting, I might join you and watch it as well. I think they're so cute. The Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. They're so adorable. But I knew that if I didn't finish this now, it's like, it's not ever gonna happen. Because I'm that crafter, I have to finish it. If not, I move on, and I move on to 50 other things, and you know, it just doesn't happen. So I've got these pine cones, okay? So I know that my page is secure. I know that it's going to be able to fit in there. So I may as well take advantage of that little corner. And I had cut these out. Now these are different from the ones that I joined together for the cover. If you see those, they have the, let me hold it this way. They have the dimensional adhesive there, and it's actually 4 layers per pine cone. These have a perimeter that will adhere, and then you can pop up all of the other little, I don't know what to call these things. I know that there's seeds that pop out of these. That's all I know. You can put them back to back also if you I don't know. Actually, no, they're not mirror images. Squash that idea. I am going to layer them. That's what I want to do. Sorry, guys. Here we go. I'm going to add some foam adhesive in between these. And I'm just going to use these because I happen to have them right next to me. Who else? Gina K. Yeah, you guys are dropping big names. I'm just Raquel. Raquel S. I'm being silly, guys, just so you know. Don't take me too seriously. But yeah, if you happen to grab this collection, then I do hope that this serves you of some use. If not, then it is, as I said, it's still available. There's still time to craft for Christmas. This type of paper also is quite timeless, so it's not going to be the type of thing that's going to go out of style at any point. It's quite vintagey, and you can change up the colors to your liking. For instance, you're seeing that I'm using quite a bit of brown here. However, by all means, you can decide to do more reds or more greens. That's really up to, you know, your personal preference there. But this little guy can go here now, and that bit of lift is just enough to give that not just some height, but a little bit more character. But if you guys know me, I don't like to leave things alone, right? So let's do a little bit of what I had done yesterday, which was to add a little bit of that red, because I know it matches. I used it already, and that's that mousse. I'm gonna add it with a tiny little brush there. And I don't need a whole lot of it. Just here and there, just a little touch of that to make that kind of come alive. And if you're the type of person that has little stickers laying around and all that kind of stuff, you can definitely add a little phrase here, any of that good stuff. There's also I was taking a peek at these little foil sheets. Let me see if there's anything in here that might work. Because we have these pieces. And I'm thinking that this little, now there's 2 of each, just so you know. That little guy might work. But I want to color the edges of that because I think it's too white. So I'm going to grab, let me see here. I'm going to reach for an alcohol marker And I'm gonna test this out really quick. Oh, that's too yellow. I'm gonna try out one of these darker colors. Actually, this is an alcohol marker, but same concept. Yep. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to color around the image so that way it's not white anymore. Because if I leave it like that, I'm not going to like it. Now this might seem crazy to some people, but this is just how I craft. I want the papers to work for me, not the other way around. And because of the type of tip on this marker, it's going to work because I can kind of fit it in there a little bit better. And if you want it to look a little more mixed media-ish, then you can add inks or anything like that. Okay? But it's just to change that background a little bit. Alright, that works for me. And I thought I had, here it is. I'm going to use a little bit of this ink as well. I'm just going to distress a tiny bit of that edge. Not a whole lot, because these brushes are so delicate that it doesn't really do a ton, but it did change the look of that, and I love that it has the foiling, so that doesn't take away from that. And now I can go ahead and pop this on here, and I can do that also with another little foam piece. Grab that. Foam square. Just gonna pop that right in the middle. And now my little pine cone has an embellishment on it as well that I can add to this little corner. Now I'm only going to adhere it to that little ticket portion because I don't want it to interfere with the rest of the page. I'm just gonna add that there. It's a little something extra. And then on the opposite side, I can do something too, but I'm gonna continue with the little inserts because I have two more. So for these, we can do some of the stamping that I had mentioned. Because we already tried out some of the stencils, you get the idea of how you can work with those. For these, I'm just gonna grab this really quickly and pop one in here. Yes, Eve, we're so amazingly blessed to have so much. I was thinking about that earlier as I was sitting here cutting paper. I was like, you know, you really have to have a heart of gratitude, truly, because there's so many people that are going through so much that if you can wake up on any given day and have, even if it's just 10 minutes, half an hour to craft and get your mind off of heavier things, it's a very, very huge blessing. So I'm going to do the little berries. I think these look so pretty. And this, as you can tell, it's just going to be a little something on the edge of the paper. Reaching down here for a water pen, and I'm gonna see how this looks. I'm gonna test it out because I'm not quite sure. May or may not like it. But what I want to do is just do the little stems, and this is just a water-based marker. Just want to do the little stems there. See how that looks. Yeah, it's quite dark. That's what I was afraid of, actually. So I'm not using those. Because if I'm gonna go with dark, I may as well just use ink. And that's what I'm gonna do with the berries here. So the rest of this, I'm going to wipe off and then do the berries. Because I could have hand drawn that, to be completely honest. So I'm just gonna do the red. Because I'm not going to be able to clean off that tiny little stem now. So let's just go with red. And we'll live with it. Because now it's more cartoony, but I actually don't mind it. So I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to flip this around now and see if I can match it up a little bit. Not 100%, but that's okay. I'm not going for exact, you know, math here by any means. And I have, oh, here it is. I have stamp cleaner. Now, normally I'd be doing all of the green at once, all of the red, you know, all that good stuff, but that's not how we're doing this today. Just trying out the different images and giving you examples. Now, you use whatever you have, of course. So if you have all water-based inks, use that. If you have nothing but markers, use that. It doesn't truly matter. It's just a matter of trying things out, seeing what you like. And of course you can test it all out on a separate piece of paper first. Okay, I've got a little bit of red, I got a little bit of green, and I think it's all going to work. Wipe that off. You can use a baby wipe. You don't need to use the stamp cleaner, just so you know. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that red again. That tape, yeah, that one got darker. So again, completely different. That's okay. I'm going to run with it. And I think, in fact, that I would like to, let's see here. This stamp set has sentiments and it has that huge bow. It's got some more greenery, but I haven't done anything with the holly and berry. So to make this look very purposefully, like, I'm thinking like newspaper, a vintage ad, that's what came to mind. And I can just play around with this a little bit. And what I'm going to do is go back to that potting soil and do this image all in one color because I've got that darker color there. Let me tell you, you can tell I'm not the most proficient with this tool. You can so tell. All right. Because this whole flippity flap thing, it works, but it takes some getting used to. Okay. So I like this idea of just doing that and then kind of bringing it all together, because I can always go back with some more red and add red to that portion. So what I'm going to do is repeat that on that other corner. Hey. Go. And one more time. Now there is a divot there on that paper because the die actually embosses it as well as cuts the paper. So that's why it's not getting a complete image there. But I'm okay with that. Because to be honest, I can even draw that. All right, so I'm going with that. It's a little bit darker than I would have initially planned it, but That's okay. We can do a different one. Actually, you know what? Let's do just that. Because I do have one more. Let me do one more. I promise I won't take that long on this one. I'm just going to do the same little image there. So I'm going to place it here first because I'm really just going for that little corner look. All right. And if you use, this is, let's see here, this is permanent ink, but if you use watercolor ink, you could even touch that up with a little bit of water and make it look a little more loosey-goosey, not so stark. Oh, Beth Ann, I think that's a great idea. Absolutely. I have two sons and they both love this sort of thing to, you know, to just look back at memories. Of course, I did it more when they were younger, but man, I wish I had done more than I have in terms of, you know, making them those types of things because they do enjoy it. All right, so that's that. Let me get this out of the way. It's the tool that I'm not too comfortable with. All right, back to this little guy. Okay, so this little guy, again, I can add the little pieces here and then add the little tabs. Woo! My words. I don't know where they went. My little tabs. I was gonna say my little inserts, but this would be the insert. Okay, so then I can add this as I did before. And I do have some more embellishments I'm gonna share with you, like the tags and whatnot. And the bows. Okay, now for here, if I want to add a little bit of red there, I can still do that. There are glitter markers, by the way, from Tonic Studios. I think I used up my, actually maybe not, this is fired brick. Let's see if I have some ink in there. Because then I can color the little berries. Yes, there is ink in there. There we go. All right, so I can color the little berries on that. Just enough little color there to add a little pop of shine, and that does have glitter in it already. So, you know. Yes, the one beautiful thing about this that I like is, for instance, writing down phrases that your kids say. I think that that's so invaluable. Because, for instance, you know, every child has such a unique personality, and I love that. My boys they cannot be more different one from the other. My oldest son is very conservative in his personality in terms of the fact that he's more quiet and reserved when he's around other people. And then my little one, and mind you, I'm talking about I call them my little boys, right? But one is 26 and the other one's 18. But my little one's very much more outgoing in terms of how he is around other people. Although it was more so like that when he was very young. So that created some really funny dynamics in our household. And my little one would just spontaneously sing and dance and just say things that my oldest would look at him and go, "Mama, why does he do that?" Or "Why does he say that?" And I would say, "I don't know, that's just him." All right, so if you see that, I really like the way that looks. But I tried to, for instance, make memories with that sort of thing. And I can add one of these little guys here as well. That and like that. Why not? One time I made t-shirts for them using the Cricut, and what I did was that I added phrases that they would just say onto the t-shirts, and they loved it. They just absolutely loved it. All right, so I think I'm gonna add these there just because I like the way they look. Just gonna add them right on there. Because as I said before, I can add a picture. Now I can add a picture to the other side. And on here, I can write a date, for instance. So let me pull this out of here because it's throwing me off a little bit. This happened yesterday where I couldn't see what I was doing. And these, again, these were cut using that Picket die. I just want to make sure it's nice and straight on there. And I do have a little bit of ink on my fingers, I think. I'm just gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna add these right here. Okay. So now these are just a nice little embellished panel. I can go right in there. And as I said before, you can take that golden marker and do the perimeter of those panels as I had done here. So I can go back and do that. And then that will kind of also complete that edge where the stamping, for instance, skipped off a little bit there. I'm not worried about that because I can go, you know, go back and revisit it. Now I did have that other one, this one here. So I can add this one to this back page, and depending on how I decorate this, then, you know, it can also work well with these little berries here. So I kind of like that. But I do have the tags that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm gonna leave that off for 1 second and share these with you. Because the papers come with the foiling. You can use the tags to cut out decorative paper. You can back it up, as I had mentioned before, with heavier cardstock and then write a little sentiment on the back or a date, anything like that. Oh, absolutely, Melissa, I 100% agree. I love it. Just the random things that children say. They can put you in your place real quick too. I know that. All right, so this one can be double layered also. No reason why you can't do that. I think that looks lovely. Let's go ahead and use that. And again, this was the back part of the front cover of that paper. But what a great use of it. I love that Tonic Studios didn't just leave that blank, but instead added the foiling. So there's that one. I have this one, which actually there's two different sizes. I think I forgot to mention that. The two different sizes of the tags. This one's got the gorgeous little ornaments on there. I think that paper is so pretty. Ah, mamma mia. Inevitably drop things. Okay, there's that one. Make sure that I clean that off. Gonna be more vintage now. There's that. And there are the other little ticket pieces that you can cut out. I think I mentioned, yes, I'm pretty sure because I did the stag, the stamp edge one. Now the die cuts that, but the image was already printed like that on the paper. So once you use up that paper, then of course you can go ahead and cut out others, for instance, like I had done here, and then just use your mediums to add your colors, whether it be ink or your foil. For instance, here's a bow. I had cut the bow out yesterday. The foundation of this bow was colored using the same mousse that I used on those flowers. And then what I did is I applied the foiling on top and I used the green foil. And it just transformed that. Now, depending on how you apply the foil, you can get a different look as well. In case you didn't already know that. So let's see here. I can do... No, that's too much. I thought I might add that to that page, but it's too much. Too much for me anyway. What I'm thinking is I can add these to the front or to the paper also. I was thinking of adding them as a tuck spot. Choices, choices. Because then I can just tuck a picture behind there. I think I might just go with that. I'm not going to overthink it, but in this case, I'm going to use hot glue because I don't want to have to fight with that. However, I do want to add a little bit of twine there. I'm going to place that in there first, and this is just available on a roll. I like the rustic look of it for this type of make because of the fact that the papers are so very traditional. Otherwise I would use a thinner ribbon, for instance, but I'm just gonna add little pieces of this, nothing major. So I place the little loop in there first and then pull them, little legs, or however you want to call that, up like that. And then that's going to give me a little something extra here. I'm going to add just a little drop of adhesive there. And on that little corner. And I tend to go back and forth on my little books when I'm creating them, just so you know. I never complete a page until I've handed it over or put all the pictures inside. You know, I always tend to go back and forth with this sort of thing. And in fact, on here, I could even add this piece. Then stick it on the page, and then that way it'll be a double, kind of like a double matting layer there. I think that'll look cute. Okay, I think I'm gonna do it like that. And then that way I can slide a little picture in there and then also have it on that last page. Extending that glue a little bit more just because I don't want too much of that. There's also that gorgeous bow that I don't think I've mentioned so far. There's this one here. I'm thinking, sadly, I've gotten fingerprints on this. Because that's one thing you do when you're working with ink and glue. Inevitably. Okay, I was just wiping ink and glue off of my fingertips. Because sadly, I tend to get that on myself. Okay, so I can decide on whether I like this corner to the top or the bottom. I think I like it more like this. I can't move that now. I thought I could maybe move it a little bit. I'm going to adhere this down. I say you have to sometimes just practice grace with yourself as a crafter and just as a human being. Okay. Got a little bit of glue out of place there. And that little guy shifted on me before I could really pin it down where I wanted it. So it's not my favorite page, but I'm going to live with it. And I'm going to add another little tag here. Oh, here it is. You can add it as a little tuck in there, like that. Or on this side. Doesn't really matter which one. But I can do that. I'm gonna use my scissors. There we go. My nails won't let me put that in there. All right. Okay, so I can put that one on there, and of course I can decorate that further, or I can leave it as it is. It depends, you know. I might add like a little date. In fact, the other dies had dates on them, so I'm going to be looking through that before I commit to what's going to be on that one. But there's also the possibility of adding just one of these blank ones, or let me see the foiling before I forget. The foils. These here I think are really pretty, so let's try one of these. I'm gonna cut out one of these little sprigs. I think they're so pretty. Or actually the phrase, I forgot about that. It says peace and joy. We can do that. It has a little star. I think that's so pretty. I didn't realize these were here. These smaller ones. So let's do that one, and then we'll put a piece of foil on it. So this, you just take off of the carrier sheet. The clear portion's what's got the sticky part on it. And then you just position it as you wish. I'm going to try to center it. And burnish that. I like to try from the center out at all possible. Try not to lift it until you're going to apply your foil onto it. And then of course you can use whichever color foil you like. For this particular make, I think I'm going to stick with the gold. But Tonic currently has gold, silver, or what they're calling chrome, green and red. Here's the green. I had shared that earlier. I just need a tiny little piece of it. Not much. This will last a while, guys, because let me tell you, I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, now I can remove that little cover and then place the foil on top. Now I'm going to burnish that again, as I did before. And the adhesive is going to grab onto that gold. So it's shiny side up. And I may have rubbed this a little too hard. I sure did. Okay, the good thing is I could brush it off because there was no adhesive on the rest of it, but there you see the phrase. I was a little overzealous. How dare I? Okay, so I'm gonna add this to my little tag here. I think it looks so cute. And it's simple, but I like that. Just a little peace and joy. Okay, so there's that. Now I wanted to mention, by the way, if you were to craft for the fall, Tonic's going to be releasing the fall papers to the stores. What they do is that sometimes they decide to release them to Create and Craft first, and that means dyes, papers, or whatever. And then once it's sold there, it goes direct to store. So you can take a peek at the pages for that. Now I wanted to show you, this paper came like this. This is part of that 8x8 collection also, and it's got that gorgeous foiling already on it. So I thought that would look so pretty here as well. I'm gonna pick a page to add it to. And this can either just be a decoration added right on top, or it can be tucked into the page as I did before, but I think it's so pretty. Let's see here. Maybe the front page? No, that's too much red. I think it looked pretty back here. Where was it? On this page? Yeah, I think I like it here. Can you use gilding flakes instead of foil for the foil fusion? You can, technically. The difference is going to be that it won't be as precise. However, another thing you can do, Dawn, is that you can use adhesive on your stamps and then add the foil to your stamped image. And I've shared that on this channel already. I did that before, and that was a lot of fun. And you can mix and match, because I just got to thinking about that. For instance, on this one, since I don't love it, well, actually I already stuck it down, didn't I? I said I wasn't gonna stick it down, and I did. Oh well. I'll show you on a different page. We can do a little bit of foiling on the background. Let's see here. Let's do it on this one. Why not? But I'm going to place this in here first. And it was it this page? I'm now forgetting. I can't believe that. Doesn't take much. I think it was this page that I said I was going to add this to. Am I mistaken? I don't know now. Yeah, it was. Yep, it was. Okay. I said I was going to add it here. But I almost want to add it as a little tuck in. But it's so pretty. Let's just add it to the front. Stop fussing. Let's stop fussing so much. Okay, so I'm gonna add another one of these right in here. And just to keep it the same, that's why I'm using the same little cord there, but of course you could change that up as much as you like. I'm just going to stick it down because I'm overthinking, and I don't like to overthink. Just sticking it down. Alright, so there's that tag. And then we have the little bows. So I'm gonna add a gorgeous little bow right there. I think those are darling. Okay, so that changes the look of that little page a little bit. Repeat that again, of course. I'm going to add another one here, and then this time around let's do what I was just speaking about. Actually, we'll do it on a tag. So you can grab a stamp. Okay. Let's go for this little one. And I'm just going to put it on a block, if I can remember where I put my blocks. Here it is. Okay, just put your little stamp on a block. I'm not going to fuss and fight with that contraption. My contraption, my stamp, what do you call that thing? I forgot already. Platform. Too many words, too many names for these things. Okay, so what I like to do is take a glue pen. This happens to be the large one from Nuvo. You don't have to use the large one. You can use one of the smaller ones. But they have this foam nib, and then you can apply this as if you were applying ink. And I'm trying to be careful not to get it into every single groove of that stamp, but I can now stamp this onto my tag. I'm going to do that again, so I want more than one. And I'm not putting a load of adhesive on here, okay? And that's why I'm using this and not, for instance, my glue gun. The idea is to get an even application there. And then, once I have that on there, I can grab my foil if I can find it. I don't know what I did. Oh, here it is. Like, where'd you go? Okay. Now, normally you'd want to have your foil ready, of course, so that your glue doesn't dry, but you guys know I'm not perfect. Okay. Place your foil on here. She says. Place it on there. Just gonna put this away because if not, it's going to fly all over my table, and I don't want that to happen. Okay. And then do the same thing of burnishing it. You do want to be a little bit more careful, I think, because of the fact that just in case that glue is not 100% adhering to the foil, you don't want to spread it out too much. But this glue actually dries rather quickly, and that's another reason I like it. But burnish that. I think my cat's destroying my furniture, guys. I don't know what to do about it anymore. No worries, Melissa. You have a wonderful afternoon. And there you are. You see the image? So it's another way to use these types of supplies and get a custom look to your items. And I think it's so pretty. Now, clearly, it's not the same as if you had used ink, but it does convey the same message that you have a pretty image on your paper there. Yes, this is the, well, actually, this glue is not the same as the deluxe adhesive. This glue is blue at first, kind of bluish, and then it turns white. But it comes in the different sizes. For instance, here's another one. Here's a medium size. This also has the flat tip, and that's what you want to look for, is that it have that foam tip. That's what makes it super easy to apply it to the stamps. Because there is a thinner one, and that's the precision pen. Now with this, you can write on here and let it start getting tacky and then apply your foil. But this has more of a tendency to, for instance, it's more liquid, okay? So that's not a glue that I would apply to the stamp. Unless you want to maybe try to make a little pool of it and then spread it out a little and then stick your little stamp in there. Yes, this should have come in one of the previous kits, but that glue is so useful, and because it's water-based, this isn't it's not ruined my stamp or anything, in case you're worried about that. I know we like to take care of our supplies, right? They cost a lot of money. We want them to last. But that's another way to go about using that, and I love it. I think it's so gorgeous. It just made that tag look from, you know, to more elegant, I think. And then of course you can add the other little items to it that you like. So I can add one of these little sprigs on here. This happens to be in a different color gold. I can add another one of these little tickets. Let's see, I think I have another one here. Well, this one's just ivory, but it's cute to just add texture. So I can just color, for instance, the edge of this one, and I'll use a darker marker because I already have so much light color on that. I'm trying to find a green that will work with this, and I think all I have is this really old one. See if this works. If not, it's okay, I have more. Good enough. Not thrilled with it, but it'll work. Just trying to color the little edge of that stamped die cut. Or stamped shape, right? Okay. You can create your little cluster here. Not thinking about it too much. Hello, Karina. Welcome back. Oh, no worries. I know you're on a different time zone, so I very much appreciate the fact that you've come back to watch. All right, so I've got my little sprig there, and then I'm just going to layer this one on top. So this can be very therapeutic. You know, you can get out your pieces of paper that maybe are not your favorite, for instance, but you don't want them to go to waste. If they're not doing much for you, then by all means you can go ahead and take your stamp, add a little color and shine to it, and change it up a bit, you know? I think this one, let's see, where is it gonna look best? I think this one will look best here on the front. And I'm going to, because I've accidentally gotten ink on my papers, here's how I'm going to rescue this, okay? Because I happen to have these markers that I mentioned before. They come in 3 different colors, okay? And one huge thing about this is that the same way that I have this pattern here, I can do the same thing with just the markers. By just pressing down on it like that, switching it over to the smaller side, and doing the same thing, okay? So if you don't have that stencil, these daubers, you see that? They'll do the same technique, which I love. And I hope Tonic comes out with more of these in different colors, because that would be phenomenal. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of that darker color there, just a tiny bit. And then there's this other gold. So I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of keep adding a little bit here and there. And on this one, I can do the same thing because I had accidentally gotten the red from my fingers on there. And now go back and add a little bit more. just to cover up my own little boo-boos. And I think this one went here. Yep. Slide that right back in there. I can add some twine to my little tag and add that to my book. So they don't all have to be little places to write onto. It can just be a little collage of the items that you like. Because if you have a good memory, it can be the memory of having learned a new technique. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think I want to separate this. Yep, because there's 3 of these in here, which is fantastic, but I don't think I need all 3 of them all the time. Do that. I'm trying to find the opening. Here it is. Okay. Cut that one down. And I'm really happy with this. I adhere this one here. All right. So I've got that one there, and this one's the one with the magnet, by the way. So that's why it's easier to kind of add a little embellishment that supersedes the edge of that page. And of course I can keep going with the little bows on there. I can add more of these, the little pine cones. Add a little bit of ink to that. Actually, no, I was doing mousse. Mousse. Where'd I go? I had my little mousse on that. Can't recall which brush I've been using. But I can also use a little bit of that foil on there because I had that little leftover piece. So let's do that. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of the mousse just for the sake of having it be, you know, the continuity of the look of this, right? A little bit of that. You can tell, I mean, this is a drop in the bucket when it comes to the amount of supplies that I'm actually using. So if you get one of these pots, it's going to last you quite a bit, although, you know, the suggestion is to try to use it as much as possible because it is water-based and it is going to evaporate, but once it's in your hands, it's yours. You do as you wish. Sorry, I was trying to get things out of the way. So here, I don't have to be too terribly precise, but because of the benefit of having that pen, right, then I can, because it's a chisel tip, I can decide where I want that glue. Okay? Getting fibers on myself here. I want just an edge of that and do that. I want it on another edge and just pounce it on there. And I'm kind of treating it as if it were ink. Now, if you're worried about the mousse getting on that, just do that after. I didn't really get it dirty or anything, so I'm not worried about that. But if I did, I would just probably take like a baby wipe or something and wipe that right off. Okay. So now I'm going to take my little foil, which is something that otherwise would probably go to waste. Just stick it on the edge of that. Don't have to be too terribly precise. Okay, just wherever it may land there with the adhesive. Including my table. But now my table is prettier. Okay. And now I have a golden edge there on these little pine cones, which if it's a shape that's not necessarily your favorite, maybe just adding a little bit of gold is what you need to make it look a little bit nicer. And all I did was use this one tiny piece of foil. So as you can tell, this stuff, again, a little bit goes a long way. Yes, that glue pen makes it feel like you tried hard. Like you did so much. No, I didn't. You guys just witnessed that. It's you know, if you have a good quality tool, it makes it a whole lot more fun, you know, less frustrating to work with. Now, I don't like so much brown on brown. I kind of want to break that up. So I may just take another one of these guys here and create a pocket, a side pocket. So let's see. I think that one. Let me see if this one will work. I have this, which is meant to be for the envelopes, but I could add it here. And obviously it's blending quite a bit there, but just for the sake of having a place to apply these, I think I'm going to use that as just a little side pocket there. And of course I could apply it from another angle. I could do it down here, you know, whatever. But the angle of this page, I think, lends better to the use of this on this edge. Or it works better, however you say that. Pardon my bad English today, guys. Some days it works out better than others. Okay, so I'm just gonna apply that on that little edge there. And you may want to save that for an envelope, but again, this is just to give you some ideas. I'm not one that wants to keep all these supplies forever and ever. That's just not me. So I'm going to layer these up however they fit best. That make a little trio. They're so pretty. Just like that. Woohoo. A little bit more adhesive there. There we go. All right. Now I've got that little bit of shine. And again, I can add another little bow here. Make it look like I tied those together. I love that shape. I knew that I was going to love that bow as soon as I saw the girls showing this on TV. I see it on TV when I saw Karen and Leo demonstrating those dies. I thought, oh my word. Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for having stopped by. So, Marcy, I don't have written instructions. However, I can give you some ballpark ideas here, okay? And I'm going to tell you what I've used. For the pages, I've used the Kit 82 Elegant Envelope gift card. Now, I have a live video from yesterday in which I shared exactly how to assemble this whole thing. And I shared that all of the pages were cut with that largest die, and all of the matting layers were cut with either this rectangle that fits the base or a similar one from another die set. So it's just rectangles all the way through, okay? Every single one of those. Now, the difference here is that I used the little piece that's in this kit right there, those two, to create those little portions there onto which you can slip in those papers because of the way that I intend to use this, okay? The other thing is that I applied each one of those pages onto a hinge that I created, and I shared that yesterday, how to make those hinges. All right, and then the distance between each and every page is 1/4 of an inch. You're also going to need 1/4 of an inch to adhere to one end and another end, so you can do the math on that. And then the hinge onto which you're going to apply your pages can be either 1/4 of an inch, I'm sorry, it would be 1 inch, or 1/2 inch. Let's see here. Bear with me. Yeah, they can be a 1/2 inch. All right. So I've done that mathematical formula in the past. Or you can use one of the spine dies from Tonic Studios. That'll save you the mathematics, okay? And then each, there, I think, how many pages did I do? 1, 2, 5 pages? Really? I thought it was 6. Hold on a second. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6. I did 6 pages, but you can do 4, you can do 6, you can do however many. The spine is 2 inches wide. Okay, and when I say the spine, I mean this outer portion is 2 inches wide, and then you need another 1/2 inch because you need a 1/4 inch piece to adhere to the cover, and then another 1/4 inch piece to adhere to the back. And that's in here. All right, and then you cover it up with your pretty papers. That's it. So the covers are 4 5/8 inches wide by 5 3/4 inches tall. So you can write that down: 4 5/8 by 5 3/4 inches tall, and then decrease your matting size accordingly by the size that you like. So if you like that little 1/4 inch edge, then you need to decrease the size of the paper by 1/8 inch. And then so on and so forth. And then the matting layer here, I cut out with the die, but then I tattered it. I shared that earlier. I added Nuvo Drops to the edge because my edge was tattered already. So as I share here, if you have an imperfection, roll with it. Don't fuss about too much, like, oh my gosh, it's not perfect. No, just make it shabby. You're very welcome. Yeah, and you can pause the video as you need to, but the poinsettias, as I shared yesterday, those were made with the dies. The pine cones were made with the dies. So all of those techniques you're going to find in that video because I shared every single step, and then I explained that I did these separately. Now these little sprigs are part of that die set, by the way. Let me, and I'm sorry if my voice was loud. I'm so used to projecting my voice in a room that I get too loud. So I am so sorry, guys. So this is the Timeless Tidings die set. We made the pine cones with this one here. Let me take it out of here. We have used this bow, these little sprigs here, just to let you know, if you're going to use something delicate like that, let me move over. If you're going to use something delicate like that, what I do is I cut it out of 300 GSM card, the same paper that I used for the base of this book and all of those different pages, because we always have those leftover pieces. So I cut out each one of these at least, let's see here, 4 times. Okay, so this one 8 times and this one 8 times. And then I layered all 4 of those pieces, because what happens is that if you have a piece that's so delicate like that, if you only use 1 layer, it's going to get ruined. So it's worth you taking the time to layer them together. And the rest was dry embossing. We did some stamping, albeit not perfect, but you know I'm gonna cover that up somehow with a little bit of gold or markers or whatever, right? We did a little bit of magnet hiding on some of these pages. Oh, and by the way, see how I used some of the leftover? Because that embossed paper was so beautiful, I didn't let it go to waste. I just added it to the inside there. We just did some stamping. Added a little tiny bit of glitter marker, a little bit of collage there, nothing fancy. A little bit of inking on a background. We made this one. Added a little bit of alcohol and ink to that piece of paper. Again, the ephemera pieces are layered with 300 GSM card so that it doesn't become flimsy. I could have done the same thing with this, but for the sake of time, you know, I wasn't gonna fussy cut today. A little bit more stenciling here. And let's see here, we need to finish this one. I had added this to the back, I think. Yeah, I added that one there. And then there was something missing here. I can't remember what it was. One of these things. Maybe a grouping. I can do this one. Yep. I'm gonna be saved by the foil today. Add these little guys. And, or, yeah, no, that's not gonna work there. I think I'm going to add just these two. I love this shape. I really, really do. I think it does so much for a page without having to, you know, it's not hard. Just stick it on the page. And then this one I'm going to keep simple for now. I might finish it off camera, but it's not been too, I don't think too much. You guys let me know, of course, if it is too much. If it is too much, let me know. I want the feedback. I appreciate the feedback. What was the rest of it? We used the greenery. Should I take a look at the foiled stuff again for that one cardinal page? What do you guys think? Because we have these, remember these? There's 2 pages of that one. And then there's these borders, but I don't think those play nicely with this. Hello, Sam! Never too much? Yeah, I know, right? The nested tags, yes, not a problem. Those nested tags are right here. They are called the tag and stamp set. Okay? So, if you follow my links, you're going to be able to find it. But the number, the item number, if you land on the Tonic page and you can't see them, the item number is 5523. My Maisie girl's in here meowing at me. I think she's hungry. So it's already 4 o'clock, guys. Can you believe that? All right, I need to add one more thing to this and then be gone. Let's see here. What am I gonna add? What do you want, Maisie? I have this and I haven't used it, but this is from the Candy Cane Christmas. It's not from this collection, but I so want to use it. I really do. I think I'm gonna have to. All right, so remember that piece of paper? Let's do something real quick, and then I'll be done. Then that's gonna be the end. All right, I think I'm gonna try to make this work. I'm going to revisit this with my little dauber. The dauber. I'm going to pounce that and put some red ink on that real quick. Okay. I'm going to try not to ruin this, guys. A little bit more there. Okay. Enough of the red before I ruin everything. Put that away, far, far, far away. Grab the gold. That's what I did before, if I'm not mistaken. And use the stencil again for the gold. And like I said, if you don't have the stencil, just pounce your paper. This is probably what I'm gonna keep doing here. Yeah, those are, I want some larger drops here. That, gold, gold, gold. And then we're gonna add the smaller ones here and there. And then the other color. We need contrast. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of like makeup. Put freckles on your face. Don't girls do that now? They put fake freckles on their face. And I say, hey, work it, girl. If that's what you like, that's what you like. We Puerto Ricans get those for free. I forgot the this dye I wanted to mention. This is the one that we used today. I still had more of it and I forgot all about that. Yes, that time difference. My gosh. I get up, lately I've been getting up sometimes at 4 in the morning. It's because my husband's work schedule changed, and inevitably I wake up because I'm a light sleeper and I hear him moving about, and I end up getting up at 4 in the morning, and then I'm like cuckoo at this time of day. But today I slept in until 6. Alright, I'm trying to find my gold because I do want to add a little bit of gold to that real quick. I think I happen to have, yep, praise God, that's gonna work. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this out and add it to that page. And look at my poor little scout looks like a patient with all this tape stuck on it. Oh, poor baby. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this out. We're gonna add that to that page. So this is the little hanging portion of that bauble, and I think it's so pretty. Now, mind you, this is not from the Tidings collection, but I happen to have it, and I really want to use it. Okay, cooperate with me. I think these sandwiches, oh, I have too many things. These sandwiches are a little confusing sometimes. There we go. And if you didn't see my video yesterday, I almost fell over when I used the tangerine. Oh boy. Guys, I am floored by that machine. Cannot believe how easy it is to use. I thought for some reason that it was going to be difficult to crank, and it's quite the opposite. It feels like you're moving air. It's so bizarre, but it works beautifully. All right, so I'm gonna move all these things out of the way. Mamma mia. Okay, I don't want to lose my dies. So, all right, there we go. There was that piece of I'm trying to find my little random piece of foil that I just had, guys. Because I thought, why not use it? And where did I put it? Here it is. I found it. Okay, so remember this. I'm gonna revisit that really quickly. Why not? Because instead of letting it go to waste, do the little edge here like we did with the little pine cone. And it's going to add that little bit of vintagey look to this ornament, because we happen to have ornaments that are like that, by the way. They used to belong to my husband's grandmother, and they're about 100 years old. And they have that unique look to them. So pretty with that old type of gold on it. And you don't have to leave it on there too long if you're doing it like this. It's just enough to make that have that vintagey look. Woohoo! Inevitably, everything sticks to my fingers, guys, so I don't do that on purpose, I promise. Alright. And then, of course, you can revisit that if you want to. If you're not in a rush, you can definitely add more. But now, this little guy's gonna go right on the top there. And cap that off. So there's my little ornament. How sweet is that? And of course you can write the date. You can write a name on that if you'd like to. But now this can go here with my little cardinal. And I think I wanted these back here. Just to create a little collage there as well. Come on, glue. I think my glue fell asleep. So that's going to complete this page. And this is an insert, by the way. because as I had said before, I just want to be able to add pictures to some of these and then do journaling on some of them as well. Add a bow. This one happens to be in a different color gold. Kind of like that, so let's layer them. That way it creates a little bit of contrast there. So the little leg's about to fall off, but we're gonna work with it. Thank you so much. Ooh, I put a little bit of too much adhesive there. Hold on one second. Don't want that seeping all over the place. So this is just gonna layer, and I'm going to do the uppy downy thing where I'm purposely not centering that, so that way all of the color shows up. Place that one there. Woohoo. Okay. Now, before I let you guys go, does anyone have any questions for me? Because I have to go tend to my little cat. She needs her mommy. I'm guessing she just wants to go outside. Who knows? Okay, but then now my little insert can go right in there. Super cute. And I'm just gonna move this. Let's see here. I think I have everything within reach, so if anyone needs to see anything again. I do have some leftover pieces, but I will likely use them as I keep working on this. However, I'm quite happy with the results of this. Let me zoom in maybe a little bit more. Like that. So that way there's no glare. Like that. Yeah. I think that's better. Oh, thank you, Beth. It's been so much fun. I wanted to get rid of this paper. Yeah, because I really don't like that. So that way you guys can see. It's been fun making this, I have to say. Yeah, she's like that. But you know what? I'll step away from here and she'll ignore me within 5 seconds. I guarantee it. That's how cats are, you know? But I wanted to mention, I was tempted to add a bit of chunky glitter to this. If you guys are not familiar with this sort of thing, this happens to be from Recollections, and it's glass glitter. Yeah, I can hear you, Maisie. I'm sitting right here. I know. I'm gonna pay attention to you in a minute. My cat's harassing me. But I was thinking of adding some of this. I may add it to the cover, just here and there, because this is quite thick. So it's not something I would add to an interior page, but if I share pictures, if I decide to use that, then you guys will be able to see that as well. Yeah, I don't know if you guys could hear her. She's sitting there meowing at me. But yeah, this is our little book. Now, you may be wondering why I did the pages like this. I had mentioned that I may adhere them on the bottom and the side and make a top loading pocket. So that's another way that you can complete this. It's very likely that I will do that, but I wanted to do all of this other stuff first before I decided that, because I like to kind of gauge the weight of the book according to the size of the spine. And I am so glad that I just remembered that, because I forgot to mention to you guys that when I applied this to this book, I actually took 3 strips of 300 GSM card, and maybe you can see the space there. I glued them together behind this piece of paper and then added it to the spine, because I didn't want my spine to start curving in, if you know what I mean, where this starts protruding or folding out. I don't like that in a memory book. I don't mind it if it's like a junk journal or something like that, but I like my memory books to be sturdy. So that's how I achieved this. So if you hear that, it sounds like chipboard. So that's how I managed to do that. And of course I cut it down smaller than that paper, and that way it's not visible. But thank you so much, guys. This has been so much fun. I think it's quite simple. I don't think there was anything on here that was complicated to do. But of course I do appreciate all of your feedback. I thank you guys so much for spending time with me. As I say, I know that your time is valuable, and the fact that you would even bother to stop by means the world to me. So don't forget that if you're interested in absolutely any of these items, they're just meant to convey love to people in your life, whether it be a complete stranger you just met for the first time, you want to surprise them with something pretty made with your hands, or someone that you know enjoys this type of thing. I encourage you to just take out your supplies and use them. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You've seen mine all here live. And you just keep plugging on and having fun with it, and you get to make new friends as well in this community. So I hope that that's how you guys feel when you come to this channel, that you can always be inspired and be blessed. And I thank you so much for watching. And thank you for those of you who are new here. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like this type of content, because that's exactly what you'll get here. Not all of my videos are this long, but when it's a live video, I try to share as much as possible, because that's how we all learn. And no, I was not born knowing absolutely any of this stuff, so no one's more special or anything like that. It's just a matter of playing and having fun, okay? So be blessed, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in my next video. Ciao, ciao.